Yo, Nagz Manian Devil, what's up, bro?
Yo, what up, Tinsel Talk?
Yeah, we about to do this podcast. Meet me at Depot Park.
Depot Park it is.
I bet.
Yo. I'm the Nagz Manian Devil. That's Tinsel Talk. This is Depot Park Podcast Episode 3. We're here. We're going to talk No Limit Soldiers. We're going to talk Rookie of the Year. And we talking Nagz going to Chicago when Heron was in college.
This ain't no motherfucking people.
So turn the knob up is, right, after we did our top 5 in the first episode, Tupac and Biggie and all them passed away, and rap kind of took this thing whoa, we don't need gangster beef, we need to chill, we need money, hoes, bitches, rap about what we got, Master P came out, the No Limit Soldier General, okay, and he hit us, Heron, Tinsel Talk, with the hardest album of the time, Ghetto D. You remember that?
Ghetto D. Yeah, I do remember that shit, dude. Master P, he was a big fucking deal before a lot of rappers even came in the 90s. No Limit label was fucking just packed out.
No Limit Soldiers paved the way for Cash Money millionaires in the 99-2000, Before them, the No Limit Soldiers came out with Make 'Em Say, They had rappers like Mystical, they had Skullduggery, they had Silk the Shocker, Master P's dropped, Ice Cream Man. I mean, do you remember Make 'Em Say,
Well, yeah, we were talking about that, it was just so hard, it was, these guys were on a basketball court, there's a big gorilla out there bouncing off of trampolines, and everyone's got a grill, P's out there, gold teeth and shit, and he's just fucking boy, I'm the god of these motherfucking bags, I'm at the big bags, or something, whatever the fuck he's saying, and it was damn, and then Mystical had the fastest flow of anyone in the game. Silk the Shocker had this iconic, he was just a hot boy rapper, homie didn't play.
His flow was just smooth and fresh, Silk was just that dude.
He was just silky, yeah.
Mia X ripped it. I mean, Mystical was, like you said, one of the fastest rappers at the time. He was ahead of the time before Twista and Eminem, get down on that. And they came out with the best albums. The artwork was a plastic cover. And it was oh, this album's sweet that the CD came in and everything. I didn't even care about the CD some of the times. I just wanted the artwork. It was so ahead of its time. I mean, I had a No Limit Soldier chain back in the day because I thought I was part of the crew.
I remember coming into middle school in the 7th grade, and I had on my No Limit Soldiers t-shirt, and my teacher was asking me about it, and I was I'm about it, make them say and they called up my parents on the phone the fucking later that day, what the fuck is wrong with your kid?
When Snoop went there, what's the name of Snoop's album? What's it called?
The game is to be sold, not to be told, or something. Is that
right?
Yeah.
The game is to be sold, not to be told. They put out a movie, and we watched that movie at my house.
No Limit had Snoop Dogg, Snoop had got out of, Death Row and, the whole scene with Dr. Dre and Aftermath, and, he was, but Interscope. And when he went down there and joined up with Master P and these guys, it was, less, rap war. It wasn't the Tupac.
It wasn't the rap war, but they wanted him because it was Snoop Dogg and his name rang bells. They were oh, we got Snoop Dogg on No Limit.
And they had the hardest beats. They fucking were crushing the beats down there.
You want to know who the best rapper is on No Limit Soldiers of all time? It's hands down, I can already tell you.
Who's the best rapper on No Limit?
C Murder. He was laying that shit down for the soldiers.
It down. Dude, C Murder on the fucking track. I fuck with that Nagz.
Bossaline was the album. I mean, if you
Yup.
want to check it out, I mean, this is no joke. But them boys laid it down in the late to mid 90s, you know, and the No Limit Soldiers gave us a lot of hits. I'm about it, I'm right it. Understand?
Get about it. Round about it.
Bout it. Yo, Nagz Manian Devil here today with Nagz Shoe Arsenal. On today of Depot Park Podcast Episode 3, I'm going to show you the DMP, baby. This came out about 14 years ago. They just did a re-release. DMP is a defining moment package. It was 2 shoes. This is one of them from his first championship, Jordan, 1991. I got these bad boys. Look at that. Look at that Jordan on the bottom. These things is fresh. Fresh as a motherfucker. Got 23 on the back. Little gold on it. I mean, not everyone rocking with these. That's why they part of Nagz Shoe Arsenal. Tell your friends. Chicago what? Rookie of the Year. Holla at your boy. Peace.
It's 90s mania.
90s mania. Hopefully that didn't annoy you guys. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm wearing my Cubs jersey. Derek Lee jersey. Boom. I went out to Chicago and had to buy another one. I got lots of Cubs jerseys. But tell them what we got going on with Rookie of the Year, because you know that's one of our favorite 90s sports movies of all time.
For people who haven't seen the movie, Henry's a young boy. They show him early in the movie trying to play baseball. He's a shitty outfielder, can't catch a ball. And one time while the girl he likes is watching, he goes out for a ball and he's about to get under it, but by a stroke of bad luck, slips on a baseball in the outfield and falls, breaks his elbow or his arm.
Hey, Rolling Gardner! Catch!
Goes into 3-month recovery with his arm. They take the fucking cast off, and when he does it, the doctor tells him if you could just rotate your arm slowly ahead, let me see this range of motion, and he slaps the fuck out of him.
Now bend at the elbow. Good. And now rotate from the shoulder slowly.
And the doctor's like, oh, funky butt loving,
Funky butt
his
loving.
kid friends are over there, and they're like, did he just say funky butt loving?
Oh, funky butt loving. Did he say funky butt loving? Oh.
And I thought that scene was so hilarious. But then all of a sudden, the muscles have healed, too tight, is what the doctor says. I think they healed a little too tight. He can throw a fastball 100 miles an hour. And he doesn't know it until they go to a baseball game at Wrigley Field. Him and his friends are going to
Wrigley
watch
Field.
the fucking shitty Cubs. And sure enough, they hit a home run, the other team does out there, and everyone says, throw it back. And
Throw
he's
it back. Throw it back.
They want to throw
it
it back. And Henry's like, should I do it? Okay, guys. And when he whips this ball, it goes from left field to home plate.
Center
and,
field. Center field to home plate.
Sure, I'll throw it and get wrapped. Here, Henry, you throw it. Okay. Oh my God.
And then the genius, the motherfucking man in the booth, in the movie, said one of the best lines ever. This is John Candy, people. John Candy, we all love from Canadian Bacon, Uncle Buck, and all the classics. Okay?
What did John Candy say?
John Candy said. And that's why the Cubs can't win anything, because they got more talent in the stands than they do on the field.
Drop the mic. Great line.
Because when John Candy dropped that line, every boy that was 6 to 10 years old thought you could be a Major League Baseball player on the Cubs.
Autographs after the game.
Wait, I'm Henry Rowan Garden.
Why didn't you say so? Oh, that's a horse of a different color.
It was like a perfect kid's fantasy. It was. And what's cool about it is there's like a growing up story in it too, because like he has to grow up too fast. And so what ends up happening is like he's like trying to like take on a very like, you know, adult role, but like, you know, he's still got curfews and a mother who worries about him,
And he screwed his friends over, his childhood friends. And he felt bad about that.
they were supposed to build a boat, and he got so sidetracked with his professional career as a 13-year-old or 10-year-old. Like,
and that shows what happens in real life. We become an adult, and there's nothing we can do besides we have to go to work, and life just speeds up, and you don't take the good moments and enjoy them for what they are. And that's what's precious about being a child.
Hey, what up, everybody? Little Rookie of the Year freestyle. Tasty treat. Hopeless in the outfield, Henry couldn't catch. Slip chasing a baseball and almost broke his neck. Cast jokes flying everywhere, kids with disrespect. Till Henry signed a Cubby deal, a stinky cheddar check. Pitcher got a big butt and Stedman's like, what's next? Brickman with the hot ice and everyone's perplexed. 10 years old, game on the line, Henry's out there looking fine. Might have lost the heater, but he floated it and told him bye. Frozen rope from center field, the tendon's too tight. Funky butt lovin's what we're doing tonight. Frozen rope from center field, the tendon's too tight. Funky butt lovin's what we're doing tonight. Hey yo, shout out to Henry Rowan Gardner, Rookie of the Year.
Yo, tasty treat. Hit him with that floater line. Damn, dog. That was some shit, dude. You showing out. I see you, big boy. But let's get into some hard in the yard.
But today for Hard in the Yard, we're going to continue on our Chicago journey. What we're going to do here is kind of timeline things from like a youthful age through like, you know, being an adult and like in the Cubs and just like what Chicago means to us. Because we're from Detroit. It's that next city over. It's like the cool city. It's a big city. And before we even knew about that, we liked as kids Sammy Sosa, Mark Race, like, you know, these 90s Chicago Cub baseball players.
Brian McRae, Ryan Sandberg. So what happened was WGN was a channel we got on TV. We watched Rookie of the Year. It was a movie that we loved, and for whatever reason, we fell in love with the Cubs. You saw the photo in the intro of Depot Park Podcast, us at a young age at Wrigley Field. My family took me there. They asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday. I said, take me to Wrigley. I want to see where the greats played, where Ernie Banks played. I need to see this place. And they're like, well, you can take your cousin. I said, bat, taking Tinsel Talk. That's my boy. We're going
to Chicago!
We're going to Chicago.
After going to Wrigley Field with your family as a kid, and it was like an epic trip where I don't even remember super well like what happened in the game, but I remember the field and like the feel of being there. And so I ended up going to film school in Chicago when I got out of high school. I lived in like the South Loop down by like Grant Park my first year. But after that, I made a friend from Wisconsin. His name's Pat, and he was like my best friend. And we found this little, you know, second floor, 3-bedroom apartment. It was a half a block from Wrigley Field. It was Sheffield, and then we were on Fremont. And we were like literally a stone's throw from the stadium.
Dude, I love that place. I love that place. Even though you lived in like a closet, I love that place.
It was such like a cozy little closet, you know, like I had like a very small room, but it faced the street, which had like out my window I could see Murphy's bleachers, you know, like it was.
We have that photo of you and I in your bedroom. You know, like Biggie Smalls. You know, I'm wearing that hat and whatever.
You got the hat. I got my scarf on. I had long hair.
But I mean, that place was amazing, and we loved Chicago. We loved Wrigley Field. Do you remember that time when? Okay, so I came out there. You know, I always took the train out there because I was young. This is like your freshman, second year of college, whatever. I forget. But I came out there and like we were walking around, whatever the case was, and the gates were kind of like wedged open. I think they were redoing Murphy's bleachers. You remember what I'm talking about? And we ended up sneaking inside Wrigley Field and running around the outfield.
Dude, Nagz. And like we were, you know, just like walking around drunk in Wrigley. I've been drinking in my apartment, and they had construction up, so like it was easier to like kind of sneak in through where they were doing it. And we ended up out there in the fucking middle of center field, you know, like at Wrigley Field.
I remember running around feeling like I was like fucking heaven, being like, I can't believe I'm fucking out here. And like that security guard yelled at us. It was like, hey! And we just took out and run. But I can't believe I've been on Wrigley Field. Right out at the outfield.
Out there in the ivy, like, you know, like right by us. It was.
I should have taken Ivy. But that's not what I was thinking when I was out there. And like I said, we were fucked up. I remember.
It was like such a special time in my life because like I had a lot of different friends come out and visit and meet people. And still today, like I have friends like that live in the city that, you know, if I'm going out there to visit, like I don't have to book a hotel. I go and stay with like, you know, Nick Stankus or my cousin MG's living out there now. I still have friends who like, you know, if I told them I was coming, would love to meet up for drinks. And it was like it was a great thing. Like I really kind of went all out with like hosting people because I wanted them to leave Chicago like feeling like they had an awesome time, you know, and that like I had a cool, you know, group of friends.
You absolutely did.
And it never disappointed, man. Like we could talk Chicago parties on here for
I could talk about your Halloween party. I could talk. That's probably one of my favorite parties. I could talk about the time you took us to like Bally's, like where Barry stayed. That place and party. Like there's lots of times.
River City Crew, man.
River City Crew. Tell Barry what's up. Barry always has a place in my heart.
Barry
Same with Stankus.
That's my homie. Yep.
Same with
Derek,
Stankus.
Same with Scott.
Hey, we appreciate everyone turning in to Depot Park Podcast, Episode 3. This shit has been fire. Tinsel Talk, I love you, dude. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Hey, check us out. And we'll see you next Saturday, boys.
See you next Saturday on Depot Park. Y'all be easy.